Hello, YouTube. It is RL coming to you again from my channel. Looking forward to talking some Star Wars. This is a big topic, I know. It's heating up the YouTube for the last couple of years since Last Jedi came out. Everyone's talking about a lot of hate going on with Star Wars these days. There's a lot of divide with the fandom all over the place, and I want to put in my 2 cents to this matter. I'm not here to fan the flames of hate. My opinions on Star Wars right now is pretty pretty down. I'm really not a fan these days. I mean, I was looking forward to Force Awakens when it came out back in 2015. Everyone was excited about Star Wars. It hadn't been a Star Wars movie in 10 years, and everyone was upset about the prequels, or a lot of people were upset about the prequels. Not everyone. Of course, there's a lot of people who love the prequels, and that's fine. You could love it. I wasn't a big fan of the prequels, but you know what Disney Star Wars has done, and it's pretty scary. It's actually made me appreciate the prequels a little bit more than I ever have. And I think I'm sensing that a lot of people are starting to realize that the prequels weren't as maybe as bad as we thought, but they are bad movies. They're just at least they had a three arc structure. At least they knew how to make movies and not just cater to the fans. And you have to respect George Lucas for that he always had a vision. He didn't want to just cater to fans. He's a creative guy, he's a visionary, he's a thinker, he has ideas. He doesn't allow people to influence him and play it safe. And I guess that's a double edged sword because he did so well with the original trilogies. Obviously, he had help, he had a lot of people working with him then. And as he got more powerful and more say, and more people were looking up to him and they were respecting him, a lot more people felt that they couldn't maybe speak to George Lucas and tell him, oh, maybe you're going too far with this and maybe you need to take it back a bit. And that's what happened with the prequels. Let's face it. He became very, very powerful, almost like the dark side. It's almost an analogy. George Lucas became almost like the dark side, the evil empire, the emperor. Not saying George Lucas is the emperor. Now people are gonna be like leaving me hate on my comments section saying you were an asshole, calling George Lucas Palpatine or something. And I did not say that. All I said was sometimes when you get too powerful and you get too much say and you can do anything you want, the prequels happen. And I'm not saying George Lucas is a terrible, terrible filmmaker. He needs to surround himself with talented people who can guide him so he doesn't go off to, I don't know, crazy land. I don't know, at the prequels, because I think he needed someone to maybe write those scripts, flesh it out, create a better story and character development. And the prequels look good. Let's face it, they're action packed. They're exciting to watch at times. The lightsaber battles are spectacular, and everyone who defends the prequels will always say, "Well, look at New Hope. I mean, the lightsaber battles suck in that, and they weren't that good. I agree, but you know what? There's more to Star Wars than lightsaber battles, and I know people are gonna be like, "What? What did he just say?" To be honest, I think if anyone says there's one thing that makes Star Wars, maybe don't understand Star Wars per se, because there's a lot of things that make Star Wars Star Wars. You know, the space battles, the spaceships taking place in a far, far away planet, galaxy, I mean, and, droids and all this technology. And sometimes people get confused and they think it's place on Earth or something, or this is a future, and it's not. This is a past. This takes place in the past in another galaxy. And I think a lot of times the new Star Wars maybe don't get that. So what I'm trying to say is today's Star Wars is in trouble. And the reason it's in trouble is because they're made by people who are fans of Star Wars. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way it is at the moment. And the only way to get out of this rut, the only way to get out of this is people to sit down and realize, look, Star Wars is in trouble. And maybe I could try to help. Not arrogant that I'm thinking I'm going to solve all the problems, but I'm going to view my opinion. My opinion is that George Lucas is the heart of Star Wars. And when his star fell after the prequels and everyone was hating on George Lucas and he just wanted to make movies and everyone was angry with him and he was frustrated, he said, okay, I'm going to sell Star Wars. I'm sure there's more to it than that. We might not have gotten a prequel, a sequel trilogy. We might not have gotten a sequel trilogy if he not sold Star Wars back in 2012. And I remember when that happened, I was pretty happy. I was actually, oh, we get to see more Star Wars. Maybe we're gonna have people who, could write Star Wars better because George Lucas is not the best writer of character developments. But that's not what we got. Sadly, we got a retread of A New Hope. And I actually liked The Force Awakens. But now that I look back on it after Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I don't like it as much as I did. It's a movie that's fallen. I don't find it as good as it once was because it was supposed to be the beginning of something, and it turned out what we got wasn't what I was hoping we would get. I wasn't excited with Last Jedi. I was upset with Last Jedi. And a lot of people were. I went to details. I'm not going to say, well, what was wrong with Last Jedi and nitpick and say, oh, I hated this and I hated that and I didn't like that and I didn't like the jokes and I didn't like the tone. Of course, it's true. I didn't like the tone. And that's one of the most important things for me is tone. And I thought Last Jedi messed that up. The tone was off. 1 second it was a Spaceballs comedy, while the next second it would be a serious drama with killing and dark tones. It just didn't work. So now we're gonna ask, what is wrong with Star Wars? What really is wrong with Star Wars? Well, it's a cash cow. It's a big cash cow for Disney. Once they got the rights to Star Wars, it was we're going to print money making these movies. We're going to have a Star Wars movie every year for the rest of time. And people were like, wow, I'm excited. I can't wait. And now we're saying, well, we're tired of Star Wars. We got Star Wars fatigue. There's no such thing as fatigue in anything as long as it's good quality filmmaking. They're making Marvel movies, but they're coming out every year. But we don't have fatigue with them because they're good. They're good movies. And Star Wars isn't good movies right now. Star Wars isn't good movie at all. Any movie. No movies. They're all just fan fiction. Perfectly fine to have fan fiction. There's fan fiction in books and comic books and all sorts of extended material for the content that we love more than others. I don't know. I like the Star Wars movies. I don't care for the books. I don't care for the magazines. I don't care for the cartoons as much. They're there. I'm okay with it. Actually, I like the Mandalorian. That is awesome. Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda. Maybe that's the Yoda. Maybe that's the Yoda we need. That's the Yoda we need. Baby Yoda is going to save Star Wars. So I don't have to do it. Baby Yoda is going to do it. Baby Yoda is already doing it. I'm just here to talk about Star Wars and what's wrong with Star Wars. And for me, it starts from the top. They didn't hire the right people for the job. I'm not going to name names. You all know the hardcore Star Wars fans, the die-hard Star Wars fans that knows who I'm talking about. There's someone in charge and made a lot of mistakes. They really didn't hire the right directors for the job. So they then had to fire directors because they didn't have the same creative outlook. Well, why'd you hire them in the first place if they didn't have the same creative outlook? Did you not interview them? I mean, hiring J.J. Abrams to do Force Awakens, and then all of a sudden, well, he's not going to do The Last Jedi, and then they get Rian Johnson. And what's wrong with Rian Johnson? Nothing wrong with Rian Johnson. I'm sure he was a great director, but he did not care for what they already set up. So here he is, comes in, Last Jedi. No, I'm going to do my thing. I'm just going to discard everything that they created, set up, and I'm just going to do my own thing because this is what I want to do, my vision. And so it backfires. There's a bunch of hate, massive. The internet blows up about this topic. Everyone hated Last Jedi. Well, not everyone. Of course, there's people that loved Last Jedi. But a lot of people, the vocal majority, the haters were loudest, hated this movie. And I got caught up on it. I don't like Last Jedi. I don't like it because of the tone. I already said that. But that's very, very important for me is tone. Humor comes from the droids. Always has. It doesn't come from slapstick. Sorry. Star Wars is not the MCU. It's not comic book movies. They're trying to make it like that. It's not. I mean, when you make a trilogy, if you're going to set out to make a trilogy, you better write down the points of what a trilogy is going to be. What are the main points? You put a 3-arc structure. You don't just wing it. You don't just throw a dart at the board and say, hey, that's a good thing. Throw another dart. Wow, that's another good thing. And then just have to correct their mistakes. And then they have to bring in J.J. Abrams to come back and fix the pile of crap that was created with The Last Jedi. Basically start from scratch and put in all this exposition and course corrections is what they did. And it turns out to be one big mess. It's like, what did we get? Did we really need the sequel trilogy? Did it make Star Wars better? It made money. That's all it did. So what am I saying right now? I'm saying maybe it's time to bring George Lucas back, have him write a structured three-arc structure for the new trilogy if they're going to make one, him create character development, have him write the stories, have him create the universe again, and then have great people working with him to flesh it out and create the stories, the writing, the dialogue, and directing. Not fanboys who love Star Wars and just want to make the Star Wars they want to see instead of making a solid Star Wars. Because I really don't think anyone can make Star Wars except George Lucas. And to be honest, in 2015, if you told me I would say that, I would think you're crazy because I was like, get Star Wars away from George Lucas. He is ruining Star Wars. And then I'm like, no. That's not the truth. The truth is, you can't have people, fanboys, creating Star Wars because they're not going to make fresh Star Wars. They're not the ones who are going to bring Star Wars into a new generation. They're just going to copy what was popular before to make money. And you know what? George Lucas at least was creating Star Wars. He was creating stuff that he wanted to see. He was creating ideas. He was making new Star Wars. And maybe it was sometimes too new. Maybe it was sometimes going above what other people wanted. Maybe there's a way to bring it to a happy medium and make it the best of both worlds. I don't know. Keep it Star Wars, but then make it different enough, but still keep it true to what made it great. And that's what I'm trying to say is when Disney took over, they just wanted to copy great before to bring people back because they didn't like the prequels. And now that they did it, and we realize no, it's not what we really want is to create new stories in the universe. And I mean, partly we did, but you know what? We didn't. And it's a big mess. And I don't even know if I want to talk about it anymore because I'm going on and on and on. And I don't know if I'm getting a clear point across because it's just so much that I want to say. And it's maybe not possible in one podcast. So that's all I'm going to say right now. I hope you like this video. And if you like this video, leave a comment, like, subscribe. My channel is still very new, brand spanking new, 10 years. I'll explain later. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this podcast about Star Wars. I have lots more to say in future installments on my channel. Subscribe, like it, and leave a comment. Bye for now. This is RL.